Do you remember mummies, curses, and ancient darkness in The Mummy, 1999? It became a global phenomenon that defined an entire era of cinema. But behind its success, a so-called curse seemed to follow its cast. Some saw their careers collapse after the film, while others disappeared from the spotlight without explanation. Today, we uncover what really happened to them, and you might not recognize who they became in 2026. Stephen Dunham, as Henderson, is a supporting man working around the expedition world, appearing as a calm and reliable ally connected to Rick O'Connell's circle in the action-driven storyline. Born on September 14, 1964, Stephen Dunham was 34 years old when he appeared in 1999. The role came during a steady phase of his career where he was becoming a familiar face in Hollywood comedies and action-adjacent films. Sadly, he passed away on September 14, 2012, at the age of 47 in Burbank, California, due to a sudden heart attack at his home shortly after being transported to Providence St. Joseph Medical Center. In his final years, he continued working steadily in television through guest appearances, while maintaining a low-profile but stable life in Hollywood alongside his wife Alexandra Lee, whom he married in 2005. That final period followed a career built on reliable supporting performances, including roles in The Mummy, Monster-in-Law, and Paranormal Activity 4, which was released shortly after his passing as part of a tribute to his work. While he never became a leading star, his consistent screen presence made him a trusted character actor in both comedy and drama. Up to now, Stephen Dunham is remembered as a dependable Hollywood actor whose career was cut short just as he was maintaining steady momentum. Brendan Fraser, as Rick O'Connell. Rick O'Connell is the kind of fearless adventurer who runs straight into danger with a grin, turning ancient curses and deadly tombs into his personal battlefield, driven more by instinct than hesitation. Born on December 3, 1968, Brendan Fraser was 30 years old when he took on the role in 1999. The character became his global breakthrough, turning him into one of the most recognizable action stars of his generation. In 2026, he is 57 years old and living in the United States, working steadily in film after a major career comeback. Following years of physical injuries from performing his own stunts, multiple surgeries on his spine and knees, and emotional setbacks from a difficult divorce and personal trauma, he experienced a long period away from Hollywood. His return came with The Whale, 2022, which earned him the Academy Award for Best Actor in 2023, marking one of the most celebrated career revivals in modern cinema. That comeback reshaped his entire legacy, turning him from a forgotten action star into a respected dramatic actor once again. He was known for films such as George of the Jungle and Journey to the Center of the Earth, but The Whale redefined how audiences and critics viewed his range and depth. Today, Brendan Fraser is remembered as an actor who survived physical pain, emotional collapse, and ultimately returned to the very top of Hollywood. Aharon Ipale as Pharaoh Seti. Pharaoh Seti is the father of Imhotep's royal household storyline, an Egyptian king figure whose authority and royal presence define the ancient world backdrop of the adventure, giving weight and consequence to every conflict inside the Pyramid-era narrative. Born on December 27, 1941, Aharon Ipale was 57 years old when he appeared in 1999. The role reinforced his international image as a classic screen actor, often cast in historical and regal roles. Sadly, he passed away on June 27, 2016, at the age of 74 in Tel HaShomer, Israel, after a battle with cancer. In his final years, he returned to Israel after decades working across London and Hollywood, living quietly near his family and continuing to accept smaller television roles in his homeland as long as his health allowed. That return to Israel reflected a long career shaped by international cinema, including appearances in The Mummy, The Mummy Returns, Fiddler on the Roof, and Charlie Wilson's War, where he often portrayed authoritative historical or political figures. Even late in life, he remained committed to acting, choosing work over retirement whenever possible. Ferro Seti remains one of his most recognizable roles, but Aharon Ipale is remembered as an actor whose career bridged multiple countries and film industries with a consistent presence in historical cinema. Rachel Weisz as Evelyn Carnahan. Evelyn Carnahan is a brilliant and endlessly curious Egyptologist whose sharp intellect and quiet determination transform her from a reserved scholar into a fearless explorer. Born on March 7, 1970, Rachel Weisz was 29 years old when she played the role in 1999. The character became the foundation of her international breakthrough, launching her into major Hollywood recognition. In 2026, she is 56 years old and living between London and New York, continuing her career as both an actress and producer in high-end film projects. Her professional life has remained remarkably stable, with no major public scandals, though she has consistently faced the challenge of maintaining privacy under intense media attention. Her focus has gradually shifted toward selective, character-driven roles in psychological and dramatic cinema. Her personal life has been defined by a strong and private marriage to Daniel Craig, whom she married in 2011, forming one of Hollywood's most discreet, high-profile couples. In 2018, she gave birth to their daughter at the age of 48, a pregnancy that required careful medical monitoring due to age-related risks. She also has a son from her previous relationship with filmmaker Darren Aronofsky. Professionally, she earned an Academy Award for The Constant Gardener, 2005, and received another Oscar nomination for The Favorite, 2018, solidifying her status as one of the most respected actresses of her generation. John Hannah as Jonathan Carnahan. Jonathan Carnahan is the brother of Evelyn Carnahan, a humorous and slightly chaotic man who brings comedic relief and emotional contrast to the adventure surrounding his sister and Rick O'Connell. Born on April 23, 1962, John Hannah was 37 years old when he first took on the role in 1999, which he later reprised across multiple installments of the franchise. The role became one of his most recognizable international roles, bringing him global attention. In 2026, he is 64 years old and living in the United Kingdom with his wife Joanna Roth, continuing a steady career in British television and independent film. While he has remained active in the industry, he has also openly reflected on the pressures of aging in acting, particularly the shift from leading roles to more supporting or character-driven parts. That transition never slowed his presence in the industry, as he continued to appear in notable productions such as 4 Weddings and a Funeral, which brought him BAFTA recognition, as well as later works including Spartacus, Blood and Sand. His career evolved into a balance between mainstream visibility and respected dramatic performances across British and international projects. For us, John Hannah is still remembered as a versatile actor whose career successfully bridged comedy, drama, and long-running franchise storytelling. Arnold Vosloo as Imhotep is the central antagonist of the story, a high priest turned cursed undead force whose emotional tragedy and terrifying power drive the entire conflict between life, death, and forbidden love in the ancient world. Born on June 16, 1962, Arnold Vosloo was 37 years old when he first played the role in 1999. The performance became the defining point of his international career, turning him into one of the most recognizable villain actors of early 2000s cinema. In 2026, he is 64 years old and living a quiet life between the United States and South Africa, continuing to work selectively in film and television while avoiding major Hollywood spotlight pressure. Over time, he openly discussed how the success of Imhotep created a long shadow over his career, with many later roles limited by typecasting as a villain, which led to periods of frustration and creative restriction. That experience pushed him to diversify his career outside Hollywood, returning more frequently to South African productions and smaller international projects where he could play more varied roles. His personal life has remained stable since his marriage to Sylvia Ahi in 1998, with the couple sharing a strong commitment to humanitarian work, including animal welfare and children's charities. Imhotep remains his most iconic role, but Arnold Vosloo is remembered as an actor who turned a defining villain performance into a long, steady international career beyond typecasting boundaries. Bernard Fox as Winston Havelock. Winston Havelock is a seasoned British intelligence-style supporting figure whose brief appearance adds a layer of old-world authority and quiet humor to the unfolding expedition story around Rick O'Connell. Born on May 11, 1927, Bernard Fox was 72 years old when he appeared in 1999. The role came late in his long screen career, by which point he was already widely recognized as a classic character actor in both British and American productions. Sadly, he passed away on December 14, 2016, at the age of 89 in Van Nuys, California, due to heart failure. In his final years, he had fully retired from acting and lived a quiet life in California with his family, after decades of steady work across television and film in both the UK and Hollywood. That career stretched back more than half a century, including memorable roles in Bewitched, Hogan's Heroes, and later in major blockbusters such as Titanic, 1997, and The Mummy, 1999. Even in small roles, he became known for a distinctive comedic timing and dependable screen presence that casting directors trusted for decades. Winston Havelock remains one of his final film appearances, but Bernard Fox is remembered as a rare actor whose career spanned from classic television's golden age into modern Hollywood blockbusters. Patricia Velasquez as Anck-su-namun. Anck-su-namun is the powerful royal consort whose forbidden love and betrayal drive the emotional core of the ancient curse that fuels the entire conflict between Imhotep and the modern world. Born on January 31, 1971, Patricia Velasquez was 28 years old when she first played the role in 1999, returning again in 2001. The character became her breakthrough into international cinema, turning her into a recognizable face in global action-adventure films. In 2026, she is 55 years old and living between the United States and Latin America, balancing acting with humanitarian work focused on indigenous communities. She continues to appear occasionally in film and television, but her public identity is now equally shaped by activism and social advocacy. That shift was deeply influenced by her personal journey, including her coming out as a lesbian in 2015 and the publication of her memoir, Straight Walk. However, she still built international fame as a supermodel, becoming one of the first major Latina faces in global fashion campaigns before transitioning into acting. She also dedicated significant time and resources to humanitarian work in Venezuela through her foundation supporting indigenous Wayuu communities. Anck-su-namun remains her most iconic film role, but Patricia Velasquez is now equally recognized as an actress, activist, and advocate for marginalized voices. Kevin J. O'Connor as Benny Gabor. Benny Gabor is the opportunistic, cowardly translator whose survival-driven loyalty shifts between greed and desperation, constantly hovering around Rick O'Connell's expedition while always chasing personal gain. Born on November 15, 1963, Kevin J. O'Connor was 35 years old when he took on the role in 1999. The character became one of his most recognizable performances, cementing his reputation for eccentric, offbeat supporting roles in Hollywood adventure films. In 2026, he is 62 years old and living a private life in the United States, continuing to work steadily in film while avoiding public attention and media exposure. Instead, he maintains a low-profile career built on selective collaborations and consistent character work in independent cinema. That artistic path led him to long-term collaborations with major directors such as Paul Thomas Anderson. Then he appeared in acclaimed films, including There Will Be Blood and The Master. He also appeared in genre films like Van Helsing and The Mummy, where his distinctive screen energy made even smaller roles memorable. Still, Kevin J. O'Connor is remembered as a niche character actor. Oded Fehr as Ardeth Bey. Ardeth Bey is the noble Medjay warrior leader whose strict sense of duty and quiet strength position him as the protector of ancient balance, standing between human greed and supernatural consequences throughout the story. Born on November 23, 1970, Oded Fehr was 28 years old when he first played the role in 1999, later returning in 2001. The character became his international breakthrough, establishing him as a prominent action and fantasy film presence. In 2026, he is 55 years old and living in the United States with his wife Rhonda Tollefson and their 3 children, continuing to work in film, television, and voice acting. He has gradually shifted into more mature supporting roles and franchise-based appearances, balancing acting with family life. That transition included steady work in major genre productions, most notably within the Resident Evil franchise, and later appearances in Star Trek Discovery, along with extensive voice acting in video games and animated projects. Over time, he has spoken about the physical and psychological demands of maintaining action hero roles as he aged, adapting his career toward leadership and mentor-type characters. Today, Oded Fehr is remembered as a versatile performer. Jonathan Hyde as Dr. Alan Chamberlain. Dr. Alan Chamberlain is the senior academic archaeologist guiding expedition research, standing in contrast to the chaos of field adventures surrounding ancient Egyptian discoveries. Born on May 21, 1948, Jonathan Hyde was 51 years old when he took on the role in 1999. The character strengthened his reputation as a refined character actor capable of bringing authority and intelligence to large-scale Hollywood productions. In 2026, he is 78 years old and living in the United Kingdom with his wife, Isabel Buchanan, focusing primarily on theater work and academic involvement in the performing arts. He has significantly reduced screen appearances, instead dedicating his time to stage performances, mentorship, and occasional involvement in classical theater productions in London. That long career included major international films such as Jumanji, 1995, and Titanic, 1997, where he became known for portraying strict authority figures with emotional restraint and precision. His continued connection to theater has kept him active in the artistic community, particularly through teaching and evaluating emerging talent. For now, Jonathan Hyde is remembered as a classical British actor. Eric Avari as Dr. Terence Bey. Dr. Terence Bey is the wise and respected Egyptian museum director, grounding the supernatural events in cultural and historical authenticity. Born on August 13, 1952, Eric Avari was 47 years old when he appeared in 1999. The role became one of his most recognized performances in Hollywood adventure cinema, reinforcing his identity as a strong supporting character actor. By 2026, he is 74 years old and living in Los Angeles with his wife, largely retired from on-screen acting, but still active in voice work and occasional guest appearances. His career has slowed due to age and health considerations, but he continues to participate in select artistic projects that allow flexible involvement. That gradual shift away from major productions followed decades of steady work in film and television, including roles in Stargate, The Mummy, Planet of the Apes, and Hachi, A Dog's Tale. Even in later years, his distinctive voice and screen presence made him a frequent choice for narration and voice acting roles. Dr. Terence Bey remains one of his memorable film roles, but Eric Avari is remembered as a respected character actor. Corey Johnson as David Daniels. David Daniels is a supporting field operative connected to the expedition logistics team, who helps maintain order behind the chaos of archaeological missions unfolding across dangerous environments. Born on August 17, 1961, Corey Johnson was 38 years old when he appeared in 1999. The role aligned with his steady career path as a reliable character actor, frequently cast in intense, grounded supporting roles. In 2026, he is 64 years old and living in London with his wife, Lucy Rossi, continuing to work steadily across British television crime dramas and international productions filmed in Europe. His career has remained consistent, shaped more by reliability than fame, with a focus on continuous work rather than leading roles or mainstream spotlight. That steady professional rhythm has included appearances in major films such as The Mummy, Captain Phillips, The Bourne Ultimatum, and Morbius, where he built a reputation for portraying authoritative, working-class, and military-style supporting characters. His long-term presence in both UK and Hollywood productions has made him a dependable screen performer. Today, Corey Johnson is remembered as a working actor whose career reflects endurance, consistency, and adaptability across decades of film production. Tuck Watkins as Mr. Burns. Mr. Burns is a supporting American character figure tied to the modern side of the expedition storyline. A confident and socially polished man whose presence adds contrast between professional ambition and personal complexity within the ensemble. Born on September 2, 1966, Tuck Watkins was 32 years old when he appeared in 1999. The role came during a period when he was building recognition in American television as a strong supporting actor in soap operas and comedy drama series. In 2026, he is 59 years old and living in the United States, continuing a successful career in television and theater while balancing public life with his family responsibilities. He remains active in both Broadway productions and screen projects, with a focus on character-driven comedy and drama. That later career expansion followed major visibility in long-running television work such as One Life to Live and Desperate Housewives, as well as acclaimed stage performances including The Boys in the Band. His personal life also became an important part of his public identity after coming out as gay in 2013, later becoming a single father of twins and building a family life with actor Andrew Rannells. For now, Tuck Watkins is remembered as a versatile performer whose career spans soap opera fame, Broadway success, and modern LGBTQ+ representation in Hollywood. Omid Djalili as Warden God Hassan. Warden God Hassan is a strict prison authority figure connected to the Expedition Aftermath storyline, reflecting the tension between order, power, and cultural misunderstanding inside a colonial-era-inspired setting. Born on September 30, 1965, Omid Djalili was 33 years old when he took on the role in 1999. The role came during an early stage of his international film career, where he was beginning to appear in Hollywood productions alongside his growing reputation in British comedy. In 2026, he is 60 years old and living in the United Kingdom, continuing a highly successful career as a stand-up comedian, writer, and television performer. He remains one of Britain's most recognizable live comedy figures, regularly touring sold-out shows while also developing television projects and occasional film appearances. That long career has been shaped by both comedy and cultural commentary, with standout roles in The Mummy, Gladiator, 2000, and Pirates of the Caribbean. At World's End, where he became known for blending humor with character-driven supporting performances. At the same time, he built a parallel legacy in stand-up comedy, using live performance to challenge stereotypes about Middle Eastern identity and immigration experiences in Western media. Warden God Hassan remains one of his smaller film roles, but Omid Djalili is remembered as a performer whose career bridges global cinema and influential political comedy. Carl Chase as Hook Hook is a Medjay warrior assigned to the escort mission aboard the ship Sudan, a disciplined fighter whose loyalty to ancient protective orders places him directly inside the dangerous clash between sacred duty and rising supernatural forces. Born on June 11, 1953, Carl Chase was 46 years old and already an experienced supporting actor when he took the role in 1999, with his career built across British and international cinema. In 2026, he was 73 years old and continues to be recognized as a steady character performer in UK and European productions, often appearing in supporting roles across historical films and adventure-driven projects. His career has remained consistent over the decades, built more on reliability than fame, with appearances in films such as Batman, 1989, Alien 3, 1992, and Tomb Raider, The Cradle of Life, 2003, which reinforced his association with action and genre cinema. That long working path has kept him active in the industry through small but regular roles in film and television, where casting directors value his ability to bring grounded authenticity to minor but important characters. Even without major leading roles, he has maintained a stable presence across decades of production. Hook remains one of his lesser-known performances, but Carl Chase is remembered as a dependable supporting actor whose career reflects longevity, consistency, and quiet contribution to British film and Hollywood productions. João Costa Menezes as Stevedore is a dock worker tied to the expedition's arrival sequence, a working-class labor figure whose brief presence helps ground the grand adventure world in real, physical human labor at the edge of the supernatural storyline. Born in 1968, João Costa Menezes was 31 years old when he appeared in 1999. The role came during his early acting career after transitioning from law and political activism into the film industry in London. In 2026, he was 58 years old and continues to live and work between London and other international locations such as Paris and Barcelona, balancing acting with his parallel career as a filmmaker and director. Over time, he has maintained a creative life shaped by independence rather than mainstream studio fame, often working on smaller international projects and independent productions. That artistic direction followed a highly unconventional path, beginning with a law degree from the University of Coimbra, where he was actively involved in student political movements influenced by Portugal's post-revolution social transformation. After leaving legal practice, he moved into film, appearing in projects such as Sunburn, BBC 1999, Gladiator 2000, and later developing his own filmmaking career with award-winning short films like Zero and Akasha, which gained recognition at European film festivals. Today, João Costa Menezes is remembered as a multidisciplinary filmmaker whose career bridges politics, performance, and independent European cinema. So after seeing The Mummy, 1999 cast in 2026, did you ever imagine their lives would turn out this different after all these years? Which actor surprised you the most today? And who do you still remember as your favorite character? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more cast updates, then versus now transformations, and untold Hollywood stories.